Some interesting news about Planned Parenthood. So LifeSite News has this, and you hopefully know that Planned Parenthood is the #1 abortion conglomerate in America, #1 abortion provider, as they would call themselves. They slaughter over 300,000 children every single year. They have killed millions and millions of people, of human beings, babies. This obviously is their #1 priority, is abortion. That's how they make most of their money. You look at where they make their income, and it's abortion and tax money. That's where almost all of it comes from. Now, Planned Parenthood in public will say that's not the case, and Planned Parenthood's defenders will often say things like, abortion is only 3% of what they do. I'm sure you've heard that figure before, 3%. It's only 3% of their business, that's all. Trying to make it sound like it's certainly not the main focus. It doesn't even really matter that much. You could take abortion away and it would have almost no impact on the institution at all. Which already is sort of interesting, because if it's that small, and if it hardly matters, then why does Planned Parenthood defend it as viciously as they do? But we know that the 3% figure is total nonsense. The way that they get to that number, and as always, this is how you can lie with a statistic. The way they get to that number is by unbundling, what they would call unbundling their services. And then sort of weighting all of the services the same. So, an analogy would be something like maybe a car dealership. If they were to sell 3 cars and then also sell 100 water bottles from their vending machine, then they turn around and say, well, selling cars is only 3% of what we do. But really, we're a water bottle distributor, primarily. But when you look at where they make their money, it's in selling cars, not water bottles. And so there's a bunch of other things that Planned Parenthood does, in theory. You could go there, you could get birth control, for example. There are other services they provide. And they may even provide those services, like something like giving away free birth control, easy enough to do. That's a really easy service to provide. They may provide those services more often than they perform abortions, but abortion is the central piece of their business. And of all the services they provide, that's where they make the lion's share of their income. Okay, that's the reality. But many people are confused on this point, including the former president of Planned Parenthood herself. So here's what LifeSite News reports. They say, in her memoir published on July 27th, Dr. Leanna Wen details her time spent as president of the nation's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood. Wen offers readers an insider's view of the organization's obsession with abortion in Lifeline, A Doctor's Journey in the Fight for Public Health. Among other things, she says that she was told to say abortion in every media interview. Someone also warned her that if we don't talk about abortion openly, loudly, and proudly as a positive moral good, then we're further stigmatizing it. Wen served as president for 8 short months before Planned Parenthood suddenly ended her employment during a secret meeting in 2019. At the time, she said that she left because of philosophical differences. Now she's written this expose talking about what really happened behind the scenes. It says, as she reveals in her book, Wen faced opposition from Planned Parenthood from the very beginning because of how she handled abortion. Quote, one of the main points I wanted to get across was that healthcare shouldn't be political, she remembered from when she prepared for her first media appearance as president on ABC's The View. I had come to this job as a doctor, and my charge was patients' lives. Her message was met with applause and cheering from the show's audience, she said, but not from Planned Parenthood. Less than an hour after, the messages started coming, some of which threw her off guard. First, a board member texted her saying, next time, make sure you talk about abortion. Then someone else said, then 2 people on the national staff informed her that back in the office, there was a lot of worried chatter. Did I leave out abortion on purpose, they wondered, Wen said. Was this a signal that I didn't want to defend access to abortion? One of them also advised her to, next time, just say the word. The unnamed person added, you need to talk about abortion at every media interview. You're the president of Planned Parenthood. People expect that from you. This caused Wen to reevaluate Planned Parenthood. And she says, until that moment, I thought the overriding reason Planned Parenthood was equated with abortion instead of its other healthcare services was the anti-choice opposition. I was taken aback to see that it wasn't just the anti-choice side that wanted to brand Planned Parenthood with abortion. This is really kind of amazing. You've got a woman who was the president of Planned Parenthood only for 8 months, but she's a doctor, medical professional, grown adult, obviously familiar with these issues, becomes the president of Planned Parenthood, and she was shocked to discover that Planned Parenthood cares only about abortion. This is what she talks about in the book. And anytime she was in front of the media, all they wanted her to do was talk about abortion. This came as a surprise to her. Now, I have never stepped foot inside of a Planned Parenthood and never would. I could have told you that. Clearly, this is what they do. This is where they make their money. This is what they care about. It just shows you how thoroughly people have been deluded and how successful Planned Parenthood has been. And, let's not give them too much credit. It's easy to be successful with this when you have the entire media on your side. When the entire media is a propaganda organ for you, then it's easy to be successful in deluding the public into thinking that you're primarily a healthcare clinic and, you do abortions on the side here and there. Yes, you will viciously defend abortion at every step. You will not allow any criticism about it or any questions about it, but it's not that big of a deal. This is how deluded people are. And they have to be. Planned Parenthood needs people to be deluded in this way. Because if you actually began to see Planned Parenthood for what it is, and you really stopped to think about this is a company that has made billions of dollars from killing people. And they kill 300,000 humans every year. When you stop and think about that, it's kind of hard to just drive by them on your way to work and see them in some shopping mall and say, oh, it's Planned Parenthood, just like any other business. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.